Thank you very much for joining this meeting this evening. This extraordinary meeting of council, councillors, my colleagues, and for the members of the board gallery. Thank you for being here this evening. This meeting, the open section of this meeting will be recorded, just for everyone's information. Thank you very much, General Manager. Welcome, councillors and staff, to the 14th of May 2024 extraordinary council meeting. Applications to attend via video, audio, visual link. We have one, Councillor Dunn. We have a mover. Councillor Douglas, seconder. Councillor Marshall. All those in favour? Against? Declared carried. I'd like to call on Councillor Bowditch to for the acknowledgements of the country.
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Wanneroo people. I'd like to acknowledge all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people that work and reside within our council, and also the councillors that are meeting on Wanneroo country. I'd like to extend that and pay my respects to our elders, past, present and emerging, for giving us the lands and letting us do what we do, our works and waterways where we reside in.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Councillor Bowditch. Now I'd like to call on Councillor Leckie for the civic prayer.
Almighty God, who comes every good and perfect gift, we give you thanks for the blessings you bestow upon us in this Shire. Grant to those who hold office in this council spirit of justice and truth, wisdom and charity, that mindful of our responsibility and the needs of those we serve, we may promote the true welfare of your people. Exercise wisely and faithfully the authority committed to us and advance the common good through Jesus Christ our Lord.
Amen. Please be seated. Thank you, Councillor Leckie. Okay, call for apologies and applications for leave of absence. I believe we have Councillor Reynolds, Chair Councillor Reynolds, Councillor Amanda Barry, and Councillor Ross Scholes. Your apologies, please. We have a mover, Councillor Woodruff, Councillor Marshall. All those in favour? Against? Carried. A call for the closure of any pecuniary or non-pecuniary interests.
Yeah, I have a very insignificant non-pecuniary interest. It is in section 11, page 25. It's the Priority Community Infrastructure Program, the Olympic Park Grant Agreement. I just want to make it clear that I am the president of Group 21 Rugby League, and a neighbouring town has asked me to support a DA that they are applying for to also do a development application for their sports ground up there, but I don't. It's very insignificant, this project.
Thank you. Yes. Any other councillors? Right, move on to the Mirror Minute, which there is nil. Public participation. We've already had Carla, Mervyn, Mitchell, Cronin. No. Okay, so we go to business planning, planning and environment. Brings us to 8.2.1, FOGO collection system. So council endorses the establishment of the following ongoing protocols to assist the community in the transition to food, organics, garden, organics, FOGO. 1, weekly red bin pickup, subject to application for an additional fee. Upsized red lid bin, subject to application for an additional fee. Discounts for additional bins, subject to application and medical need. Support to transition to cloth nappies, education program and workshops. So we have a council recommendation. We have any questions? Yep.
I'll speak against it.
I want to speak first. No, any questions of clarification? Okay. Do we have a mover? Councillor Woodruff, Councillor Marshall seconding. Do you want to speak for the motion? Councillor Woodruff? Councillor Marshall? Against?
Yes. I'd like to speak against the motion or shadow a motion. Obviously, shadow motion will only come into effect if this motion is defeated. Understand. I understand this has been obviously implemented some time ago. It's been, for the word, forced on local government by the state government. There's not a lot we can do in regards to moving to FOGO. So there's not a decision that this council just decided was a good one. It's a decision that was obviously we had to make. And all councils, of course, how they do there and what they do, of course, is their decision. For me, the issue is I don't have an issue with the officer's recommendation apart from the payment required by ratepayers for that extra bin. And I'll explain why. The reason being that my understanding is, I've spoken no different to every councillor in the room, spoke to a lot of ratepayers in regards to the fortnightly pickup rather than the weekly pickup. And it appears to me, and this is generalising, so it's probably not in every case, the people that have their bins at the fullest generally are people, of course, who live in a household with a number of people, with more people you've got in your house, naturally, the more rubbish. The more rubbish you will have in your bin. That's not always the case, as the motion reads. You know, people with medical conditions and all sorts of conditions can also fill a bin up. The reason I make that point is that, for me, the people with the least ability to pay, so the people with the most bills, people with medical needs, the people with the most children in their house, or the most people who live in their house. So the people that fill the bin the most are the people who have the least ability to pay, and yet they're the people that we want to pay for this. Effectively, we're saying that, you know, if you want to keep up the same service you've got now, you're going to have to pay. We're asking people with the least ability to pay to make the payment, which is why I certainly don't agree with it. Which is why I foreshadow a motion. I'll let councillors know, as I say, I understand how it works, but this motion's got to be defeated first. And the motion effectively will read the same as the motion does now, albeit apart from that, it will also have a 0.5 in there that ratepayers will make an application to council for a second red bin or one large red bin. So what that does effectively is leave exactly the same capacity as you have now in your red bin. You don't lessen that capacity in your red bin. Having two smaller red bins or one larger red bin double the size is the same capacity. So on application and approval to council, ratepayers will be given that either the second red bin or one large red bin for a period of 12 months, where that decision will then be reviewed by, obviously it'll be by the next council, by this group of councillors. It'll be then reviewed in 12 months' time. Of course, that gives ratepayers 12 months then to work out. You know, we've had it coming for a little while, but no one's had a go yet. I'm sure a go yet of waiting 2 weeks till their rubbish goes. So at least then that will give people 12 months to sort out how the FOGO is going to work, how you'll sort your rubbish, and whether or not you genuinely need a second bin or a larger bin versus the smaller bin. So I just foreshadow that's the motion I'll be putting forward, pending the decision on of course the motion that's been supported and seconded by Councillor Woodruff and Marshall.
Councillor Drayton, would you like to move that as a proposed amendment to the existing?
Sure, can I?
Yeah.
I can. I would like to move that, yes. So effectively it'll have a 0.5 in there that says on application, ratepayers can apply to council. On application and approval, they will be given, there'll be no cost, they'll be given either a second red bin or one large red bin. I mean, ultimately, because, and to be fair to staff, I asked this question last night at the briefing, and it was difficult to work out whether it was cheaper to have 2 red bins, whether it was cheaper for the contractor to pick up 2 or to pick up 1 large red bin. And of course, there's the issue of people, I think, might have been one councillor mentioned that might have been that people want no room for 2 red bins either. So of course, whatever council decides is the best option, 1 red bin, 1 big one or 2 small ones, but on application and approval from council, ratepayers, because ratepayers is important, ratepayers are given the extra bin, and we'll reassess that in 12 months' time. Reassess that condition in 12 months' time.
Are you suggesting that's a means test?
No, I don't. I suggest it's a process where a ratepayer has to apply to council to say, listen, I need a red bin. I can't fit everything in one bin. I have X amount of people in my house, or I have a medical problem, or I have whatever the problem is. I don't want to second guess what the problems might be. As soon as I do, someone will come and say, oh, I've got this problem. So whatever the problem might be, council will then approve that. Well, then, if someone sends a message, and no doubt, I'm like every other councillor in the room, we leave lots on social media. If someone sends us an application to this council and says, I want a red bin because I hate yous, the chances of getting a red bin might be slim. But if people who are genuine, and they're the people of obviously the issues I want to address, people that are genuine who cannot fit 2 weeks worth of rubbish in one red bin, make an application, given the red bin, there is no cost.
Can we, without making it too complicated, can we nominate the general manager as the
I think the general manager needs to speak to that. I'm not sure the general manager's going to have time to do 1,000 of them if there's 1,000, but I mean, mine, asking me on spare time.
I guess I'm just curious about how what criteria would be used to make that determination, and is there going to be recourse for denial?
I think moving forward, that I mean, I don't think it's going to take us very long. I think that this council can fairly quickly put together something that's that's fair and equitable. As I say, my only, I don't see that there is a limit to it, apart from the fact that someone just says I want one because I don't like it. But I'm not sure that it should be. Frankly, it should be. We should have much ability to say to Beam's test or say to anyone, I don't think you need it. If they want it, but there is a process they have to apply to be approved by council, then they get.
Can we add at the discretion of the general manager, and his decision will be final? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. That's a great one. Actually, this does align with the 4 protocols we're suggesting in the council's recommendation. We're suggesting, as you suggested, Councillor Drayton, that we do have a protocol in place for those who can demonstrate a genuine need. For example, we're thinking people with chronic illness, for example, large families, childcare centres and aged care facilities. That on application, as you said, there would be a process to consider the applications and whether it be an upsized 240 litre bin or a second red bin will be made available at no cost. So that doesn't align with our thinking, this staff's thinking. And in relation to that, our intent would be to bring back the protocol for councillors to approve to either the May or the council in the June.
For me, I think it is important that councillors are involved in the process, but I don't think it's fair of the general manager for staff deal with someone at the front desk about decisions that might be made by staff. But I think it's staff's responsibility. I think it's councillors' responsibility. But for me, certainly the process or the application process wouldn't be limited. I have a view too that I'm not sure. Thousands of people are going to march through the door, want an extra red bin. Speak to my own mother and father who say, no, they live together and no, it's fine. We'll be right for 2 weeks. So I think there's lots and lots of people out there like that. But there is also, as I say, lots of people about. So I think we shouldn't narrow the process at all. But certainly, I think councillors should be involved in the process of, for me, ultimately, other than someone who walks through the door and says, I want one just because I want one, or I want one because I don't like yours, or I want one because I think it's a dumb decision. I think they're the only people we should be looking at, frankly, that we're not giving this red bin to. Again, on the proviso that in 12 months' time, we reassess where we are. We've all been through the recycle process. It was the same issue when we said that you've got to split your cardboard and everyone's, we're never going to do it. Well, of course, now we do it with our things. So in 12 months' time, let's reassess it and see where we are.
Thank you,
No, actually, what? So obviously, I've spent a lot of time sort of sorting out this stuff with FOGO and made a lot of phone calls to different councils that already have it. I couldn't find one that actually had it with the smaller red bin. So their transition to FOGO was with the larger red bin, which concerned me that we're transitioning with the smaller red bin. And today I had the opportunity, I was on the waste conference that was held, and FOGO came up. And again, the transition was difficult for some of those councils that actually spoke today. Transition to the green bin as to what people were meant to put in that green bin. Same as we would have had when we first changed over to recycling. So those were my concerns. So I support
The amendment.
the amendment.
General Manager, can I get clarification? Are you saying that the what Councillor Drayton's asking for is already embodied in the regulation?
If I could finish much, Mr. Chair. Point 3 is discounts for additional bins subject to application of medical need, where Councillor Drayton's amendment does clarify from the respective councillors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, I do think, Mr. General Manager, that we bring back a protocol to council that the criteria to assess the need. That'll require the council and the community.
Yeah, can I just speak with that as well for a second?
You want to speak for the motion, Councillor Bowden?
I just want to go, yeah, look, I'm happy with the FOGO. Everyone knows I've been very vocal against the FOGO coming in. I know it's a state government and we're following protocols. I support Councillor Drayton. I've been very vocal that this is something that we are supporting onto our community. I don't believe there should be any restrictions to anyone who wants a red bin. So with the medical or anything else, if someone requires a red bin, second red bin or a larger one, I believe it should be given at our cost. We're forcing this on the community. And I just see if we don't, we're going to end up with rubbish beside these red bins.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thanks,
Councillor.
Advantage. And of course, all of us, we know councillors are hugely concerned about the impact. Absolutely. As our staff, and we want to do this responsibly and fairly at the minimal cost to the community that we can. We need to ensure, though, that the principles behind FOGO are not betrayed by concessions that may not be reasonable. So in fact, at the moment, we get 760 litres per fortnight that's available for the disposal or processing of waste material. With FOGO unchanged as it is, we get 860 litres. So there's an additional 100 litres provided. Anyway, that's just through the transition of a weekly red bin to a fortnightly red bin, and from a fortnightly red bin to a weekly red bin. We just need to understand that if we provide an additional red bin, we'll be going from 760 litres of waste to 1,000 litres of waste. And that does contradict the principles of FOGO. But we do understand that the costs, implications and the transition. And so, as Councillor Drayton has said, a 12-month trial might be a reasonable position. As Matt has said, we report protocol to councillors in either May or June, and councillors can decide on the criteria for enabling this additional lifestyle.
Thank you very much. Now, would someone be, Charles, would you like to, someone clarify?
Clarify what the amendment is.
Why
There's-
don't we do that if you
Yeah.
like?
Katie's got.
Oh, you probably-
I've got it.
Yeah.
So the amendment, so point 5, ratepayers on application and approval of council can upgrade to a larger bin or second smaller bin free of charge for a period of 12 months and reviewed after that period.
And what about equipment like Matt suggested about the criteria being assessed by councils?
I think
So
that's
actually point 6.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you see, point 6 would be a draft protocol reported to council for review.
yeah, I'll say that.
Everyone clear on the amendment? Councillor Woodruff, do you accept the amendment?
No.
No? No. No. We need a second.
So we need a mover for the amendment and second the amendment and then you vote. That was.
Yeah.
Yep, so that D to second the amendment.
Move councillor Drayton, second councillor.
Councillor Dunn, would you like to ask the question or speak for or against the motion?
Yeah.
No, we have to vote.
Thank
We
you.
have to vote now.
So now, so we're voting or put the vote that the amendment be the primary vote, primary motion. All those in favour?
So the amendment.
Oh, can we reread the amendment?
Can someone read it for Jan, which she can't read it?
For the council, upgrade to a larger bin or a second smaller bin free of charge for a period of 12 months and reviewed after that period. And point 6, a draft protocol will be brought back to council with the criteria.
Right, Councillor Woodruff.
Do not have speakers for the amendment against before the vote.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you, Councillor.
I think I've pretty much said everything. I think that's an appropriate way to move forward. Gives everyone a chance, everyone who's concerned now, because I don't know to tell you how many people in the community have been concerned about it. We've been one of the bigger issues when I say bigger issues we've dealt with, certainly the most that's got people in the community involved more than most other issues. So I think it's important that when my job as a councillor is listen to what the community say and make decisions in that direction. So I think the motion does that. I think it will pick up everyone who genuinely needs that bin. And as I say, who knows, in 12 months' time, we might be where we are now with recyclables, and we don't even think twice about it now. So yeah, I'm happy with the amendments to motion of this chapter.
Thank you, Councillor Drake. If I just add, it's so Councillor Dunn.
Douglas.
Councillor Douglas, sorry.
I can speak now for
Yeah.
Yeah, for that thing. And I think with what we're looking at, we're not talking this ongoing. We're saying 12 months. That gives the community 12 months to make sure that they're using the bins responsibly. If at the end of that 12 months they know that there's going to be a fee attached, I think you'll find that 12 months is going to make a big difference to their habits and what they are actually putting in the correct bins. If they're not putting the right thing in the green bins, that's going to be costing us money anyway.
Any debate on that? Councillor Wood.
Thank you, Mr. Acting Mayor. I oppose the amendment, and the reason as such is it's all about cost. If you want a bigger bin, it's there for an additional fee. If you want to upsize, it's there for additional fee. If your household happens to be in dire straits, we already have the facility where you can come to the council and put your case. It's all very well and fine, and I don't disagree with what the object of the amendment, but somebody has to pay, and that's every ratepayer in this council will pay for those bins, be it a second red one, a weekly red one, a bigger one, whether they like it or not, that would be here to their rates. We can't produce a bin and fresh air for nothing. We have to pay for it. So when we expend money to pay for extra bins, we as a community pay that cost. Please remember, the whole idea of us going down this road is to reduce household waste and to educate people to look at how their households are run and to change those. Whether you've got chooks and you already feed your scraps, then the Fargo is not relative to you, but to everybody else it is. And our whole idea is to reduce addressable waste and to lessen our landfill. So please think long and hard about the amendment, and that is why I oppose it.
Thank you, Councillor Woodruff. Councillor Marshall.
Also like to talk against the motion or on the same ground as Councillor Woodruff has. Everyone in the room and everyone outside the room needs to think about who pays for it. Who is going to pay for it? The ratepayer is going to pay for it. Every ratepayer. There are facilities in place through the original motion for the extra length for the people who actually need it. I believe Councillor Drayton's motion now is going to leave it all wide open. Everyone says, I want a bin, they're going to get it. I don't believe we can actually police who can and who can't have a bin. All they've got to say is, I need a second bin, and we can't say no to it, I believe.
Thank you, Councillor Marshall. Any other speakers for or against? Right, so I'm going to call councillors to vote for the actual amendment. All those in favour? All those against? Let it carry. So the amended motion has now become the motion. So we have a mover. Any final discussion? It's done.
Decided.
All those in favour?
Start with that.
So if an amendment is carried, clause 10.15 of the Code of Meeting Practice, if the amendment is carried, it becomes the motion and is to be debated. If the amendment is lost, debate is to resume on the original motion. So the amendment was carried. And the motion is to be debated. So if there's any other debate, that can continue. Otherwise, proceed as normal to a final vote.
So we vote again on that motion.
If there's no more debate, we'll put the motion. So I put the motion as amended. All those in favour? Those against? Let it carry. Thank you, councillors. Brings us to property in place, which is nil. Corporate service is nil. Community and economy nil. Notice of motions nil. Sorry, Councillor Whitman. Oh, sorry. So adjournment into closed council. Do we have a mover? Councillor Bowditch, Councillor Marshall. All those in favour? Against? Let it carry. The council will adjourn into closed session. Members of the press and the public be excluded from the meeting of the closed session, and access to the correspondence and reports relating to the items considered during the course of the closed session will be withheld unless declassified by separate resolution. This action is taken in accordance with section 10A2 of the Local Government Act 1993, as items listed come within the provisions outlined in section 7A.
Not yet.
All right, now to recap on the closed council items. Item 11.1, contract 2021-2022-0509 for construction of the Denman Children's Centre extension. It was resolved to defer. Council considered that decision of the matter in the opening meeting would be on. Council defers this item to obtain further information. Sorry, my eyes do not quite stretch that. So 11.2, tender 2023-2024-0578A, FOGO processing. That. Yep. So council accepts the alternative proposal submitted by Loop Organics Pty Limited for contract 2023-2024-05788, processing of food organics, garden organics, FOGO, in accordance with the attached schedule of rates, subject to satisfactory contract negotiations. And 2, delegates to the general manager authority to enter into a contract for the processing of FOGO with Loop Organics Pty Limited. Item 11.3, Priority Community Infrastructure Program draft funding agreements was resolved in the affirmative. The council approves continuing with detailed design to progress both major projects and to ensure value management options are explored and operational expenses inform the capital expenditure reviews before calling construction tenders. And 2, authorise the general manager to execute the funding agreements for the Australian Government's Priority Community Infrastructure Program. And item 11.4, Upper Hunter Place branding proposal was resolved in the affirmative. Council approves entering into a contract with Upper Hunter Shire Council for the purpose of engaging for the people to deliver a place and community brand for Muswellbrook Shire Council in partnership with Upper Hunter Shire Council. And 11.5, general terms of offer, community benefits, Muswellbrook Solar Project. Council resolved 1, a monetary contribution of the greater of $850 per megawatt AC, or as per finalised benefit sharing guidelines, installed, paid annually and adjusted for consumer price index. 2, annual instalment spent in the following ratios: 10% specialised staff contribution, 45% Muswellbrook Shire Council benefit fund contribution, incorporating training and scholarships, provided these are not in lieu of the proponent employing trainees and apprentices. And C, 45% neighbourhood benefit contribution administered by council. 3, council is supportive of assisting with the delivery of local benefits as rate rebates to the properties nominated by the proponent. 4, the above contributions would replace any requirement for contributions or levies under section 7.12 of the Local Infrastructure Contributions Policy. 5, the planning agreement is to be reviewed and renegotiated in the event of any change to property rates charged being at the rate higher than the general business rate. 6, the proponent is to employ 4 local apprentice trainees on the site during the construction phase. 7, as there will be heavy vehicles along Sandy Creek Road for simultaneous multiple projects, Muswellbrook Battery Energy Storage System, Muswellbrook Pumped Hydro, Muswellbrook Bypass and Muswellbrook Solar Farm. Pavement damage for any specific project will be needed to be accurately calculated, as such a proper methodology for contribution will need to be developed by council and funded by the proponent through the planning agreement. 8, construction company and proponent to have an office in the Muswellbrook CBD for commencement of the project and for the period of construction. And 9, the proponent to provide a procurement plan for council's approval to demonstrate local spend. Closure. The meeting declared closed at 7:08 p.m. Thank you very much, councillors and staff. What we got there?